Hi there BookTube, it's Janet and I've got my first reading update for March, and it's all going on in March, isn't it? There's lots of readathons that are going on, and there are 3 that I am trying to meet all the challenges for and take part in for March. And what I like about them is that they're all a month long. So it's definitely doable for me. There's March Mystery Madness, there's the Irish Readathon, and there's the Emojiathon, and all of these readathons have got lots of different categories and challenges. I'm not going to go through them all now, but they are one-word titles which are very loose, so you can interpret them how you want to, and I just think they're absolutely brilliant, and so I'm going to be taking part in all those 3. So the first book I've got to show you, and this book fits in with Emojiathon. The category is, I can't remember what the emoji is for it, but the category is read a book that you've never heard of before. And I have read Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I'd never heard of Neil Shusterman before, and this is a book that caught my eye when I was just browsing, and it was on my wish list, and I got it when we went to Mr. B's Emporium in Bath. And oh my god, I loved this book so much. It is one of the best books I've read in such a long time. It's the first book in a trilogy, and it's set in the future of this world, and basically we've conquered everything. So we have we no longer have the cloud, we have the thunderhead, and this is the internet that basically it knows everything and it controls everything. And so we have world peace, we have and one of the most important things, and what you get for this book, is there is no death either. You can get to whatever age you want to, and then you can go and reset yourself. So if you're approaching 50, if you fancy resetting yourself to 25, you just go and you do that. So you get like multi-generational families in homes, and you can't tell who's who because they all look at young. If you fell off a building, or you try, and a lot of kids throw themselves off buildings just for the fun of it, you go to a revival centre, you're out for a few days, and then you're good as new and you're back. So one of the problems that they've got is obviously overpopulation. So there are a special group of people called Scythes, and they are independent of the Thunderhead, and they have a code of ethics where they make decisions, and they actually have the power to kill people. And you get to follow Citra and Rowan, who get recruited to one of the Scythes as his apprentice, and you learn and you follow the training. And then you go to the big Scythe Council, and basically you start to hear about, there's a bit of plotting and a bit of intrigue going on amongst the Scythes. You get to see that some Scythes have slightly a different approach to the way they work, and it gets to the point where they are, their apprentice master is challenged by one of the other Scythes, and that they say that basically there's only a limited number of places that for Scythes, because they wear a special ring, and this ring can grant immunity to people but also gives the power that the Scythes have. And they basically said, well, you know, you can do this year training, but at the end of it one of them's going to have to kill the other. And so obviously we follow this journey, and oh, I loved it. I couldn't put it down. It has that page-turning excitement that you get from the Hunger Games. I love the characters in it, and it is one of the best books I've read in ages, and yeah, I can't recommend it high enough. Read it, read it, read it. You will love it. And I mean, just look at the cover. That's one of the Scythes. So consequently, because of Scythe, I'm in jail. So if you know the rules of Bookopoly, if you buy a book, and if you buy a book that's not sanctioned by pulling out your chance card where you get a free choice to buy a book, you have to go to jail. And to get out of jail, you've got to read that book immediately. And that's not going to be a problem, because I've bought Thunderhead, and this is the second book in the trilogy. Because I've just got to find out what happens next. The only thing is that once I've read this has just come out in hardback. How long do you have to wait for book number 3? But I've just got to. So that is my plan for reading next, and I can't wait to read it because I've got to find out what happens next. But let me just show you the gorgeous cover of the Scythes, because they wear these like robes, and they decide what colour they wear, and some of them have got jewels and sparkly bits on them. So I just, yeah, I've got to read it. I can't wait. So if you're looking for a really gripping, fabulous, page-turning thrill of a read, I recommend Scythe. Do you think I've recommended that enough? I'm also doubly in jail because I bought Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls #2, and I will also have no problem reading this because I loved the first volume, so I will be reading this as well. And let's just have a look at who we've got. So I'll just open it randomly, and we get Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan and Mary Jackson, computer scientists, and and I think these are the ladies who were featured in the Hidden Figures film, who basically learned how to program computers. We get Nefertiti. We've got Violetta Parra, composer and musician. And you know, some of these women that you won't have heard of, but you will soon know how great they are, and you get lots of different walks of life. You get activists, you get scientists, you get writers, you get musicians, so you get politicians. It's just, yeah. So again, I am doubly in jail, but it's fine. I'm okay with it. So for March Mystery Madness, this book is for, and this book meets the category where they said travel, and it's supposed to be like a book that's set in another country or a book about a journey. So I started the Molly Murphy series, and this book is Murphy's Law by Rhys Bowen, and it follows a young Irish girl called Molly Murphy, who is on the run from Ireland because she's living in a tied cottage to an estate, and basically the son of the Lord of the Manor is a bit of a lech, and he's been trying it on with Molly, and she's just had enough, and in the process of fending him off, she pushes him, he hits his head and he's dead, so she's on the run. She's not too bothered about leaving the family because her father and her brothers just basically treat her as a hired skivvy. So she steals the money from the jar, jumps on the boat, and while she's on the boat a murder happens, and so it's all about how she solves the mystery, gets to Ellis Island, and I really enjoyed it. It's just a nice cosy crime. It's set in 1901, so you get to hear about the journey, and then you get to see how she copes settling into New York when you just arrive there with nothing. And it was a really good read, and I really enjoyed it. So consequently, I read the second one, and this is Death of Riley, also by Rhys Bowen, and so this is where Molly decides on how she wants to earn a living, and she decides that she's going to be a private investigator, and so she forces herself upon Riley, who is an established private investigator, getting him to train her, and obviously you can guess that he dies. And again, so it just follows that story of Molly, how she's trying to make her way in New York, how it's very difficult for a woman in that time. New York is riddled with gangs, an unsafe place to be. It's full of the immigrants, and they tend to be quite in ghettos. So you'll have the Jewish quarter, you'll have the Irish quarter, you'll have the Italian quarter. There's no mixing of that, and it's just a really good look at how that city evolved. And I really like Molly. She's really spunky, she's really like, you know, she's really feisty, and she just doesn't take any crap. And so I'm currently reading number 3 in the series, because I had all 3 on the shelves, and that's For the Love of Mike, and that's the third one in the Molly Murphy series. I think there's about 17 of these books, so I've just got about 100 pages into that. And then on audiobook, I am listening to book 4 in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Never read it before. I'm absolutely loving it, and I will let you know what I think of it when I finished it, but it just makes my commute to work and back an absolute pleasure. So much so that when I arrive, I don't actually want to get out of the car, but you know, gotta pay the bills. So let me know how you're getting on for March and what you're reading, if you're taking any part in the readathons, and I will see you all soon, BookTube. Keep reading. Bye!